What's up YouTube, Dara here from Zephyr, and today I'm going to take you through a list of cards and the prices that you are going to want to go out and buy in order to improve the Crimson King structure deck that we get next week. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. Now, I'm going to do a separate video looking into the Crimson King structure deck, but for now, I'm just going to show you all of the confirmed cards in the structure deck thanks to Dual Daddy. And as you can see, the deck itself is relatively complete. So the cards we're going to be looking at is extra deck boosts, and then pretty much staples, so stuff like hand traps, interruptions, control cards, everything else like that. As you can see, there are a couple of outdated cards in here and cards that don't make sense in the form of Pot of Extravagance and Fiendish Chain, but that's where we're going to look to upgrade. So we're going to try and keep this as budget as we possibly can and keep in mind exactly what we're looking to do with this type of deck. So let's start off with the first card. Massive shout out to Joe who helped me go through this list. This is pretty much the list of cards that he would look at upgrading, a couple of cards as well that he would kind of consider to be spicy techs that you might want to look at going forward. Now, do not let the first kind of price scare you. So Supay Dustwalker came as an ultra rare, but it also came as a common as well. Now, you'll need to look at probably getting 3 Supays and 3 Supay Dustwalkers and 3 Supays. So you're looking, and when I go to Tier 0 games, you can actually pick up a Supay as a common for 30p, and you can pick up a Duskwalker for 30p a common each. Now, in the actual structure decks, you do get Dawnwalker as well. So Dawnwalker is there to get you level 8s, whereas Supay is there to get you level 6s. So the idea is that both of these are just, or the Dawnwalker and Dustwalker, they're cards that let you discard any card from your hand to special summon the Dawnwalker or Dustwalker, and then you get to special summon Supay or the Ant from the deck. So the idea is it just gives you a 2-card combo to get you into a Synchro level 6 or a Synchro level 8. And obviously with the deck that you're looking at, the 6 is probably going to be a little bit more consistent to help you Synchro climb without going in too much. Now, like I said, you're probably going to want 3 Supay Dustwalkers and 3 of the Supay, just so you've got them. You only ever really use 1 Supay. But the idea is you're going to be spending like £1 to get a set of everything you need. Very, very cheap, very, very easy. The next one we're going to talk about is a very spicy tech, thanks to Joe. Now, he mentioned, well, not massively, but he mentioned Small World. Now, this one's obviously a little bit more in price because you're looking at around about £10 a copy. These are obviously, that's £13 per copy, £9 a copy there. There's a nice little bid there at £2.99. I'm not too sure how long it's got left on it. But the reason you'd go for Small World is just so you have more search power. Now, obviously, in the deck, you do get Extrav, but you could very easily pay Pot of Prosperity, but that is going to be a massive, massive increase of cost. Now, what are you going to use as the bridge for your Small World? Well, the best kind of one is Santa Claus. Again, this is a massive shout out to Joe who mentioned this. And the reason that this is such a good card is because it's a Fiend and it's not a Dark. Now, you can play the Dark Kaiju if you want to as well. And obviously, Santa Claus can be a very kind of good card as well because it does act as a bit of a Kaiju. So you can get more of these, but it's entirely up to you. You can play the Dark Kaiju as well. The next one we're going to talk about is the Bestial Disbatter. Now, Bestial Disbatter is probably the first one that I would honestly go for, especially right now, considering at the time of recording this video, the ban list dropped like 2 or 3 hours ago. Cards like the Bestials, Lubellians, and everything else that I will mention in a couple of the other... jumped ahead of one. I mentioned in a couple of the other ones. There we go. Magnamute, £7 on Tier 0 games. You can only play that at 1 now. And then Bestial Lubellian, £15 a copy. That would be a different kind of play style for if you were to get the main deck ones, but for now, just getting a Bestial Disbatter. There is one down here for like £10.50, £11 buy it now, $4.99 on bids. So this is one of the upgrades that's definitely worth getting because it is a Dark Dragon and you do lock yourself into Dark Dragons as you make your plays. So being able to get a Bestial Disbatter can be very, very good for you. And this is probably like the first ones I would honestly go for. Everything else can be like spicy techs or additions, whereas I feel that this is a staple card that would fit like seamlessly into the deck. After we have talked about Bestial Disbatter and obviously Lubellian and Magnamute and then Druid Swarm and everything else like that, we will be looking at Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Now, this is going to obviously branch across to stuff like Infinite Impermanence as well. So these are all just going to be your generic hand traps. Now, at the moment, Imperm is sitting at like £6 a copy, and then Ash Blossom is sitting at about £4 a copy. But remember, in November, which isn't that far away if you're willing to wait. We actually get these staples again in the Anniversary Collection set. But unless you're a new player coming back into the game because of the Crimson deck, there shouldn't really be any excuse to not own a playset of Ash Blossom. Another one, of course, is Evenly Matched. So if you're like, oh, I really want Evenly Matched and I want something else, you could look at getting the Track Trick Structure decks. Or you might have already bought the Track Trick Structure deck and you're like, I want to change from control to a bit of combo. Well, that's when you're going to go into the Crimson King structure deck as well. And then, of course, Infinite Impermanence we've already talked about. And now we're going to talk about Assault Synchron. Now, this is just something that I thought would be kind of a cool option. It's just a free level 2 summon. Well, I say free, costs you 700 life points. And then it'll also let you bring cards back if you are tributing from the field. Now, you could go a little bit more spicy down the Synchron route. And I do like the idea that it's kind of Jack Atlas's and Yusei's deck kind of coming together. And you'll see a little bit of a preview in a minute when we're going to be talking about Crow's deck coming with it. So it's quite a nice little 5Ds era deck to put together. But Assault Synchron can help you kind of sync up a level going into level 10s, and then also allows you to recycle some of those dragons from the graveyard as well. Speaking of the little previews of the Blackwing, so Joe mentioned to me that you can actually do a combo that ends on 2 black-winged dragons and a black-winged assault dragon, or 2 assault dragons, which is really kind of cool considering that these are currently like £2 on eBay, but then if you look at Tier 0 Games, you can pick up like a Prismatic Secret one for £1.50. And then you can pick up an ultra rare one for £1. So you can add this to your order of Supe Dustwalkers and possibly even ask them if they do have a couple of staples lying around, pick them up. Or if you're like, you know what, I'm going to get me a small little bestial engine while they're slightly cheap. Now, I would not be surprised if these get bought out or if they go up in price by the time this video kind of comes out or a couple of days after because of the new ban list. So yeah, that's pretty much it. One that he did want to mention is that the Scarlet Security at 99p is one to mention. This is basically like a searchable Harpy's Feather Duster for the deck. So you activate only if you control a face-up Red Dragon Archfiend dragon. Red Dragon Archfiend. Destroy all spells and tracks your opponent controls. So it's a very, very nice Harpy's Feather Duster. And the reason that this is searchable is because we get 2 cards in the structure deck, which are really, really cool themselves. And they are called, once I get there, Crimson Gaia and Vision Resonator. So 2 brand new cards for there. Obviously, Joe is the more Red Dragon Archfiend player than myself. I quite like. I think he was the one that got me into Synchrons, to be honest. So he definitely helped me ignite my 5Ds era. But as you can kind of see, there's a lot of cheap cards, a lot of spicy tech cards. Now, when I mention stuff like Evenly Matched, you're going to want to be looking at your generic side deck cards. So Cosmic Cyclones are possibly an option as well. They're relatively cheap. You'd be looking at Ghost Spells if the format defines it, Draw and Lockbird, everything else like that. So they're all kind of cards that you'll be looking for, but they don't really integrate with the main deck. And that's one thing, as we can go back to the full structure list, doesn't really contain. Now, to me, Underroots is kind of like a cool little card. So is Red Rain, but I do feel that Phoenix Chain isn't that great for the deck. This could have very easily been an imperm and it would have made the deck like a next level. We would have given you a nice staple. When you're looking at pulling this deck apart, some of the stuff is probably going to go. So like the Battle Fader, you're definitely not going to want to play. Backjack, you're not going to want to play. You're probably not going to want to play Extrav either because like they give you 9 synchros and you're like, okay, cool. But none of these you really, really want to be playing at free. Like maybe the Red Rising Dragon here. I'm also quite disappointed that Calamity's got a super rare when the new card, the Red Dragon Archfiend or the Assault, only got a super rare. It's like, bro, why couldn't that be an ultra rare? Like, okay, give us the Jack Atlas one. I think it's like the People's King or something. Everybody's King. Or why does Red Dragon Archfiend have to be an ultra rare? Like, I get it, but it's already had quite high rarity prints. Why could you not just give that as an ultra rare and make that a super rare? That's my little gripe about this deck anyway. But it's still really, really good. So it gives you a Nessie and it gives you a Chupacabra. So if you're like a collector, you've pretty much got all of the Danger Engine reprinted in the past 2 structure decks. Like, I said past 2, but Dark Worlds gave you 3. I think it gave you Bigfoot, Snake, and I think it gave you Chupacabra and the bird, Thunderbird. And then, of course, you've got Nessie and Chupacabra in this one. So the only one you're missing is Jackalope, I believe. Regardless, some really nice new cards. The one thing that this deck has done is this deck has made it lets you complete Crimson Dragon, which is quite cool. I say Crimson Dragon, Red Dragon Archfiend, Resonator, you name it. It's allowed you to complete that deck, which is kind of cool. But it hasn't given you the staples to like fully compete at the level you want to. So don't worry, I will be putting a budget build together, a build that you can invest in slight bits of investment without going overboard, trying to keep it at like $100 to $80 as a fully competitive list that you can go out and buy, pick up the bits you need to, and still be able to kind of take the wins at your local environment. The fact that this is giving you access to Bane is probably one of the reasons why Bane was not Bane, Calamities was not banned. Yeah, I think it's a really kind of cool deck for what it is. But I feel a lot of people are turned off by the fact that there is no staple draw to buy the deck. Like when you look back over the other decks, I would probably say Darkworld was the last one that didn't really have a staple in it that you were like, oh, cool. Just buying the deck and getting a staple is a bonus. This is one of the ones where you're just going to buy the deck because you want to play the deck, and the staples are just, you know, not worried about them. Really kind of cool deck. I can't wait to pick up my copies, put the deck together, see what it can do, and go from there. But like I said, I hope this video has kind of helped you, give you a brief idea of what kind of cards you could be looking into to upgrade the deck, to make it competitive. Like I said, my go-to personally would be Bestial Dispatter, Ash Blossom and Imperm if you haven't already got them. Building up your extra deck for evenly matched. I would definitely be looking at the Assault Synchron as well. Just looking at cards that have recently been printed that are at a decently low price that could go up now thanks to the ban list and the upcoming format. They're the ones I'd be focusing on. Anything that's got a future reprint, such as Ash Blossom and Infinite Impermanence, I'd probably wait a little bit, but you should kind of have them for now anyway. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Any questions at all, by all means, please put them in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Like I said, I will try and bring you a combo video, test down video, budget build, and a full powered build when we get these next week. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.